Hello everyone, my name is Dorian and welcome to Zolder Alternate. We are with the F3 doing a track guide. As always, I'm just going to show you guys the lap real quick and then we're going to go over it corner by corner. There's also a setup that I've tweaked from the baseline. It's in my Discord, link for that in the description below. And if you enjoy it, leave a like, and if you want to see more track guides and race videos, then subscribe to the channel. That's it. See you guys on the track. Okay, so we're coming up to turn number 1. Let's look for a braking point. It's gonna be right towards this second Coke Zero sign as we reach the red part. The second to last. This one right here. And as I start braking, I'm already gonna initiate a little bit of turning. I want to prepare the right side of the car, the right tires, for a lot of load and a lot of heat that I'm gonna ask for it. So I'm just gonna do it nice and gradually. Peaking at around 50%, you don't need more than that. You can try to brake later here. I find that you rarely gain any time from it. It's quite dangerous. Peaking like a shallow peak, 50-55%, releasing gradually, downshifting into 4th gear, and turning in quite lazy. I'm not trying to do anything abrupt. You can see how gentle I am with my inputs. I'm only really starting to turn in the car as I approach the apex with a little bit of throttle. That throttle is going to help you mount this curb and stay stable. Squeezing it all the way to 100% as the car lands, straighten out the wheel back to 100%. Letting the car run wide to the outside. Don't mount this curb. Like, don't fully mount it. This much is great, but any more than that, it's going to cost you maybe half a tenth here on the exit. Try to keep that in mind. Immediately taking the car to the left, upshifting into 5th, and we're gonna brake right at the beginning of this patch of sand right here. So as it kind of disappears where my front wheel is kind of parallel to it, that's where I'm gonna brake. Downshifting from 5th into 4th, turning in very late, right? So 40% peak. I'm not trying to slow the car down very quickly. It's all about managing the front tire temps. 4th gear, turning in nice and lazy again, letting the tires know what I'm gonna ask from them, giving them time to prepare. Late apex, well, not really late apex, but I'm going in really deep. So I'm going all the way to the curb on the inside here. See, I'm already back on the power quite aggressively. Dropped off enough speed so I can go back to the power immediately. I'm gonna stay committed from this point on. Then the car run wide. Old tires I might lift here on the exit. And take the car to the inside again for a nice short route. And our lifting point, you don't really brake here unless maybe if you're drafting or cold tires, dab the brakes just a little bit. But with warm tires, you don't need to brake here at all, just lift. At the end of this access route, the first one, that's where I'm gonna lift and turn in simultaneously. So right here, you can see as I lift, I'm gonna start to turn in. Much sharper this time. I'm just rolling into the corner. I'm in no particular rush right now. I'm just trying to find the curb on the inside, and as I do, as I get close to it, pretty abruptly back to 100%, very aggressively. Potentially, you can be a little bit smoother to try to prevent the understeer on the exit with the throttle, but Doesn't really matter. There's not a lot of time to gain on the exit. If you want to gain time here, it's all going to be on the entry. It's always going to shut in on you. It's always going to be difficult, so you're just going to have to be patient. Taking the car to the right, and 6th gear. Now, looking for a braking point. We have this end of this patch of dirt. Always here. You can rely on it. You're going to brake right at it. Peaking pretty high, around 80-75%. But you have to release quite quickly, because if you stand the brakes for too long, you're just gonna snap and over-rotate into this corner, into the chicane. Very tricky part. I'm only gonna start to turn in the car towards this white part of this barrier. And as I do, you can see I'm releasing the brakes very quickly from around 55% to trail braking. Downshifting into 3rd gear. And I'm already back on the power at this point. I want the power to stabilize the car as I mount these curbs. Turning in the car. And straighten out the wheel at this point. Now, might have turned right a little too early here. That's quite aggressive on the curb, but as much as you can cut it without getting damage. Or, losing control. You want to clip it just a tiny bit less, but potentially this is quite reliable. I can do this almost every lap and it's fine. Had to lift a tiny bit because it was quite aggressive, but went back immediately to the power. Let the car straighten out. You have plenty of runoff here, so you can take advantage of that. Now, that cost me about 0.02 of a second, so keep that in mind. If you don't mount that 2nd curb too much, it's not going to be as much of a problem. You're going to be a little bit faster. Staying on the left here for those, I don't know, 0.02 of a second, potentially. And the braking point here is quite tricky, but I found it. You can see the white line gets dirty right here. That's exactly the braking point. Right there. Brake. Peaking quite high, but look at how quick I'm releasing it. So peaking at 80%, already at 70, 50, 40, using the curb for the entry. And I'm going to follow the curb the way it runs out. That's sort of my turn-in point. Keep releasing the brakes all the way down into 2nd. Just put it in 2nd now. Turning in the car. Not trying to turn in too early here. I'm trying to avoid these guys. They're kind of bad for this car. And you can get an off track here quite easily. You can see how much input I'm giving it right towards the apex itself. So I'm not giving it much input at the beginning. Just as I reach it. Letting the car go neutral from this point on. Letting the car dip down. Let it rotate. Nice and neutral. Dab of the brakes just to help me rotate the car. Probably wasn't necessary, but it does make it more consistent if you do. This is 5%. As the car rotates, already back on the power. No hesitation. You have to be very, very, very smooth with the throttle from this point on. You can see I'm only squeezing it to around 50%. Waiting for the wheel to straighten out. Back to 100 for a very short period of time. And then look at what I'm doing here. I'm going to short shift. And modulate the throttle as I accelerate through this corner. I'm going to short shift. And lift. See, I'm lifting, just making sure the back end doesn't step out. It's very easy to lose the rear end here, especially on cold tires. But even on warm tires, if you want to be aggressive here, you're going to have a problem. So you're going to have to be very gentle. Use the curb on the way out, and you're through. From this point on, quite easy. Just hug the curb on the inside here. Don't mount it. Just be as close to it as you can. Let the car run wide on the exit, and stay on the left here for a nice short route. Gonna brake here, slightly past the 100. Maybe 95, 90, I don't know, something like that. Again, peaking high and releasing very, very quickly. This is one of the corners. This is the corner where it's easiest to burn up the fronts and just lock up into the corner. So you need to peak high so you can brake late, but very quickly release it. Staying on around 50-60% for a little while longer just to slow the car down enough. And as I turn in the car at this point, moving into trail braking. Not trail braking for too long here. As you can see, I'm already releasing the brakes because I'm looking for a point where I can go back to the power, which is right around here. So I don't want to mount this curb too early. Right from the middle is a good spot. And as you do, you can already go back to the power. 70% modulated to around 50, opening up the wheel and back to 100, no hesitation, opening up the wheel as much as I can, as early as I can, go wide here and just accelerate nice and smoothly. And coming up to the fun part of this track. This is insane. I'm just gonna show you that in full speed. So much fun. Okay, so when I start to turn in, you're staying flat, even with cold tires. By the time you finish the first lap, your out lap, you can already do this flat. I'm not sure about draft, maybe lift a tiny bit on entry, but keep in mind that you might lose the backhand, so you're gonna have to experiment with that. I did stabilize the setup as much as I can, so it should be good. Now, turn in at the 100, staying flat, and I'm aiming towards this part right here. This is my apex. So as you can see, it curves, the white line curves here. I want to be slightly to the left of it, put my left side of the car right around here, flip the dirt a little bit. It's not a problem, because you want to be on the inside here, because as soon as you land, the car will slam to the ground, it will bottom out, and will slide wide a little bit. See that? Not a big deal. From this point on, I'm gonna upshift into 6 just to have a nice smooth approach for the exit. With cold tires, 6 really helps here because it does have a tendency to kind of snap on the exit here. So 6 can really help. Early apex, then the car run wide. Being very smooth my inputs, and that will give us a 1:17.740. Hope you guys enjoyed this track guide. If you did, please leave a like, and if you want to see more track guides and race videos, then subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hop over to my Discord if you want the setup. That's it. Have a great day. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.